Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Marriagepreneurs Podcast, where the space where faith meets strategy, love meets legacy, and purpose becomes a lifestyle. I am your host, LaKisa Taylor-Allston, and today we're asking a question that every builder, every dreamer, and every purpose-driven couple needs to consider. Do you have an entrepreneurial mindset? Not do you have a business, not do you have a brand, not do you have a product, but do you have a mindset to build, grow, and sustain something bigger than you? We talked about the marriage mindset last week, but since we are a community of marriagepreneurs, we want to talk about that entrepreneurial mindset because business, like marriage, neither are for the faint at heart. Let's get into it. So let's start with the basics. An entrepreneurial mindset is not about owning a business. It's about how you think, how you respond, and how you approach life. It's a mindset rooted in possibility, creativity, resilience, ownership, faith, courage, and vision. Entrepreneurs don't see what is, they see what could be. We are problem solvers. They don't wait for opportunities, they create them. We have vision. They don't run from challenges, they learn from them. And we realize and figure out how we can show others. And here's the truth. You can have an entrepreneurial mindset even if you never started a business, because the mindset is about leadership, stewardship, and legacy. Here are some signs that you do. You know I like the signs, everybody. Here's some signs that you do have an entrepreneurial mindset. Number one, even if you don't realize it, you see solutions where others see problems. You're the person who says there has to be a better way. Number two, you're driven by purpose, not pressure. You don't just want to work, you want to make impact. Number three, you take initiative. You don't wait for permission. You move when God nudges you. Number four, you're comfortable with growth. Growth requires discomfort, and you're willing to stretch. Number five, you think long term. You're not just thinking about today, you're also thinking about legacy. Six, you're resourceful. Entrepreneurs don't always have everything, but we know how to use what we have. Number seven, you believe that there's more purpose, more impact, more alignment, more legacy. If any of these resonate with you, you've already had the seeds of an entrepreneurial mindset. And I want to just share for a moment personally, because I've always been in this mindset, even before I went to college. My father, who's a pastor, just shared with our congregation how I actually did not want to go to college. I didn't want to go to college initially because I wanted to have freedom to be able to think and do what I wanted to do and create and produce, because at heart, I'm a creator. It's not that I didn't want the structure of school. It's not that I didn't want the education, because certainly the education and my studies and everything has gotten me to this point. I was a mass media major, and here I am doing a podcast. So all of my learning has come full circle, and that is great. But in and out of entrepreneurial season, my short stint in working for a structured environment, this is again where I landed, because this is where my heart is, and this is where my mind is. And even in this journey of creating the Marriagepreneurs Podcast and Village, I can check every single box of these 7 steps that I just laid out for you. So if you are a person who's already doing this, you might be doing it at your job and might not be getting a promotion, or you may be doing it at your job and the person and people are coming to you. It's something that you should consider. I'm not saying quit your job, but maybe there is an entrepreneurial dream on the side or in your retirement in your future. Now, a few signs that you may not have it yet. Let's flip it, because awareness is growth. Here are the signs you may still be developing in your entrepreneurial mindset. You fear failure more than you desire growth. Entrepreneurs understand failure is a feedback. I hope any entrepreneurs out there are taking any business. Certainly, I've had business and projects that have failed, but you take it as a learning opportunity, and you go back, you assess, what could I do better? What did I do wrong? How can I make it better? How can I still resolve this problem? Because usually we don't let those problems go away. They don't go away. We don't allow them to go away until we figure out a solution. You need constant validation. I'm in the midst of recreating a podcast, and I'm still working on trying to get my YouTube numbers up and my Instagram numbers up and all of the things that everyone says you need to have done. Well, again, we are supposed to be operating based on purpose, not pressure. I believe it'll get there. I believe in this project, I will hit the marks and the goals that I would like. So you definitely have to believe in yourself. Sometimes if you're the only one believing in yourself, worrying about constant validation is a negative sign. You avoid risk. You're not reckless risk, but faith-led strategic risk. People are always saying they listen to their spirit of discernment. And that is very true. But what we want to do is, if you're going to step out on faith, you have to believe and trust God at his word. That is the key. And negating that by saying the buts, or not moving on the task that you feel in your heart the Spirit has led you, it is part of the risk that you have to take, looking at risk as faith and not just risk. That is not a good sign. Try to reframe your mindset to something positive. If you struggle with discipline, entrepreneur requires consistency, not convenience. Again, this podcast for me is an example. I'm uploading my new episodes every Monday on the podcast, audio podcast, and Wednesdays on the YouTube. I have to get my recordings done. And there's no one here to say to me, hey, LaKisa, you got to get it done except for me. So you have to have self-discipline when you're making your plan, when you're trying to produce. These are the things that you have to do for yourself. Another one, number 5, is that you're just thinking too small. If your dreams don't stretch, they won't grow you. Meaning your mind, I have a specific number, and I will tell you, it took a coach for me to say, I want to make this business X amount of dollars by a certain time frame. Well, another coach said, that is nothing. 6 figures, first 6 figures, 100,000 on this product, on this business, on this program. Everybody, it doesn't take much for people to be at 100,000 in one thing. But so I had to reframe my mindset and think about all that I'm doing. As a result, I've developed programs and processes and systems that should help to get me there. Number 7, you're always waiting for the perfect time. The time will never be perfect. The time is now. At least start thinking about it. At least start dreaming about it. And then put reasonable short wins in place that you can accomplish to help you achieve your goal. The perfect time just really doesn't exist. And number 7, you see obstacles as stop signs. Entrepreneurs see them as detours. And listen, none of these are judgments. They're invitations for you to grow, stretch, and evolve. So if you're finding yourself more in the I'm not sure mindset, let me share some things with you on how to develop an entrepreneurial mindset. Just like with marriage, you can cultivate this mindset first with your faith. Entrepreneurship can be spiritual. It is spiritual because you need God's voice louder than your fears. Number 2, build your confidence. Again, doing the short wins help you to build your confidence because you'll be excited about what I did, what boxes I was able to check. That will help you build your confidence instead of waiting for all of the followers or all of the fame and all the fortune that comes along. The confidence actually comes from clarity, competence, and consistency. Number 3, surround yourself with builders. Your environment shapes your mindset. Your village matters. One thing that I've experienced in this journey of the Marriagepreneur podcast, not only my husband, who's very supportive, and we took a moment so that he knew how I felt about what I'm doing or the purpose, and I needed him to understand the purpose. And he fully understands the purpose, and he's able to talk with me about it. So he's already one of my builders. Of course, my family and close friends that I speak with, they're already one of my builders. But what's been a great blessing for me is like even the place that I'm here right now recording, being in the midst of other entrepreneurs, designers, people that are working with me to get this entire program and project together who are also builders. And I'm making sure that I'm a good client to them and that they are a great service provider for me. So everyone that I'm working with now, I'm being very strategic. It's not just, I can take, if you're a photographer or you need to book a photo shoot. Yeah, there's a lot of people with a camera that can take pictures, but I look at their portfolio. I check their resumes. I check their references. And all of that, I consider everybody now my team. And I plan to be a regular client of theirs as long as we are all achieving and meeting our goals. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with builders and the right people. Learn how to think strategically. Entrepreneurs don't just dream, they plan. Number 5, embrace failure as part of the process. We already covered that. Every mistake is a lesson. Every setback is a setup. Number 6, practice ownership. Own your life. Yes, own your choices, own your habits, own your results. Entrepreneurs don't blame, they build. 7, stay curious. Ask questions, study people, study what others are doing, especially if they're in your industry, and seeing how exactly are they successful. Learn new skills, especially AI, because AI is here. And I'll have to do another episode on how AI alone has helped me to advance ideas and everything that I sat on for 3 years. Curiosity fuels innovation, so stay open. And again, why does all of this matter? Here's the beautiful part. An entrepreneurial mindset doesn't just help your business, it also does strengthen your marriage. Because when you think like a builder, you're already a better communicator. You already solve problems faster. You dream bigger. You collaborate. You're going to collaborate with your mate deeper. You're creating legacy intentionally, whether that's just for you and your mate, whether it's for your children or your family or your community. You're already going to be intentional about these things because that's the mindset that you have. So a marriagepreneur mindset is simply entrepreneurial thinking applied to love, partnership, and purpose. So as you move through this week, I want you to ask yourself, do I have this entrepreneurial mindset? And if not, am I willing to develop one? Because your mindset determines your momentum. Your mindset determines your marriage. Your mindset determines your legacy. You were created to build, created to grow, created to lead, and just simply created for more. Thank you for joining me today. If this episode has blessed you, share it with someone who's already stepped into their next level. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode to www.themarriagepreneurs.com. You can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Until next time, keep building, keep believing, and keep blossoming into everything God has called you to be.